Hello Year 4 and welcome to another class text video with Mr. Langford here. We are still carrying on with our Rotten Romans text. We are doing pretty well with it. We've got well over halfway now. Excuse me. And yeah, with the rest of this week and then 2 more weeks after to go until half term, we're doing pretty well. So where did we get up to? Well, we were talking about Roman games and games that children would like to play, and then we were talking about games that adults may have played as well, mainly looking at gladiators and things like that. We are now moving on to our new chapter, which is all about the rotten Roman food. My favorite kind of chapter. Right, here we go. The richest Romans enjoyed tasty foods and new recipes. They could afford spices to disguise the boring taste of the smoked or salted meat and fish. Here are 20 foul food facts from the Roman time. Number 1. The rich had great feasts. One Roman called Trimalchio held a feast which included wine that was over 100 years old. It also included a wild boar. Now, wild boar is a type of wild animal. We don't see many of them nowadays. When sliced down the belly, allowed song thrushes to fly out. Wow. Number 2, during such feasts, some guests could eat so much that they had to be sick. They would then go back into the dining room and continue eating. Number 3, Emperor Maximian was a big eater. He was supposed to have eaten 20 kilograms of meat a day, and that's all about the meat you would get from a small sheep. Number 4, Maximian's enemies said he drank 18 bottles of wine with each meal. Such gluttony killed him in the end, of course, but not until he reigned almost 20 years. Number 5, in the kitchen, the rich kept a special container used for fattening up their dormice. They were fed on the very best food, walnuts, corn, chestnuts, before being killed. Stuffed and served as a great delicacy. The stuffing could be made from a pork sausage, or even sausage made from another dormice, and flavored with pepper and nuts. Snails, number 6, were flattened in milk, were very popular. Take your live snails out of their shells and put them in a shallow dish of milk and salt for a day. They love milk, so they slurp it up and down, but the salt just makes the stupid creatures thirstier. Then they are placed in a plain milk for a few days. They drink and drink and drink until they become too fat to get back into their shells. Fried in oil, then served covered in wine sauce, they are delicious. Even fouler, fatten up the snails on blood to add flavor. Some snails would be vampire snails given the chance. Number 8, the Romans enjoyed stuffed thrush. The thrush is a type of bird. No worse than your Sunday chicken, right? Wrong. They stuffed the thrush through the throat without taking the insides out. Ugh. The Romans also ate other birds that we wouldn't usually think of eating. They enjoyed herring gulls, jackdaws, peacocks, ravens, swans, crows, and coots. Number 9, the Romans didn't waste much. One recipe by Apicius calls for the chopped up udder of a sow. They also ate the brains of animals, not to mention the lungs of goats and sheep. Number 10, King Mithridates of Pontus in Asia was scared of being poisoned, so he ate poison, in small doses, of course. That way his body built up a resistance to the poison. Then he heard the Romans were coming to get him, and he hadn't had the guts to face them, so he swallowed poison. Of course, it didn't work, so he had to fall on his sword in the end. So when the Romans found him dead, he had even less guts. Number 11, the Romans had some rotten sauces too. One was made from the guts of a fish. They were salted and left to rot in the sun. After a few days, the liquid was drained off and drunk or used as a sauce. This way, you may sprinkle tomato ketchup on your chips. This may sound a fishy story, but it's true. 12. The Romans ate chicken, duck, and goose, just as we still do. But the Romans probably served them at the table with the heads cut off, but the feet still on. Number 13. In Roman times, there were storks living in Britain. The Romans ate those too. Number 14. Horse bones have been found at the Verulamium, which shows that the Romans ate horse meat sausages. Nay, it's true. For vegetables, number 15, the Romans would use some pretty odd things. Would you have eaten a salad made with dandelion leaves? Or how about an egg custard made with nettles? Or perhaps you prefer some stewed seaweed? These things are still eaten today in various parts of the world. Now, 16. Sometimes Roman banquet guests would drop rose petals into their wine and then drink. Number 17. At one meal, Heliogabalus served his guest 600 ostrich brains. Enough of that one. 18. He also served peas mixed with grains of gold and lentils mixed with precious stones. Perhaps they liked rich food. 19. The favourite game was to disguise food so it looked like something it wasn't. At one feast, roast piglets turned out to be made of pastry. At another, a nest seemed to be filled with eggs, but the eggs were made of pastry, and inside, yolks were made of spiced garden warbler meat. You might enjoy a meal for 20 whilst watching a television, but could you eat at a Roman feast with dancers and acrobats, jugglers and clowns rushing around, or even a pair of gladiators trying to kill each other? So we're going to finish up here with talking about the Rotten Romans' daily diet. So here's their daily diet, and then we'll read more about what they ate in tomorrow's video. So the main meals for the day for the Romans were the following. For breakfast, they would just normally have some fruit and some bread. For lunch, which they called prandium, they may have had cold eggs, fish, or vegetables. And then for dinner, or they called it cena, they would have tasty things like radishes or asparagus as a starter. For their main course, which is called primea mensala, they would have chicken or hare, fish, and lots of vegetable dishes. And for their sweet course, for their dessert, it would probably just mainly be fruit. Okay, so that sounds quite healthy. But reading what they may have had for meat, ostrich brains, oh, yuck, don't think I would want to have that. Anyway, guys, I'm going to stop reading there, and we're going to, that's the end of the video for your class text today on Wednesday. And tomorrow we'll read on more about the rotten Roman foods. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.